Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So, this is something that has been sent to me, and apparently it's been on the internet for like a month or 2 months already, and I had not heard of this, but I saw a little clip from it, and it was really explosive, and I was like, I need to watch this with you. But basically, it is Steve Green confirming the stories that Josh was telling with Swoop, but this was posted before Josh did the interview, which again is another example of people telling the correct story, because we have multiple people, we could cross-reference the stories, you know what I mean? And we're not talking with each other behind the scenes. Here we're seeing Steve Green confirm stories that Josh said that we hadn't heard until yesterday, basically. And he is someone who was involved in the circle of Josh and Colleen. He was someone who Josh brought up as the one who told Josh that Colleen was shit-talking him. And so I think this is really interesting. So, oh yeah, first and foremost, please go subscribe to my second channel if you enjoy vlogs. I'm vlogging every single day over there. I'm having so much fun. I just posted my apartment tour, so if that interests you, click the pinned link. So, this was tweeted by Becky, and it says, "This is crazy. How have I not seen this yet? You know, F Colleen." And it's a snippet from a TikTok that Spill Some Tea With Me, my favorite page on TikTok. They are so sweet and so on it, by the way. Posted a little screen recording of the conversation that happened here, and the 2 minutes was insane. So I then went and found the original podcast, and I think that we should watch it together. It's literally 20 minutes. I have not watched this together. I've not watched this at all, but we're going to watch this together. I don't know what to expect other than the fact that they have very negative opinions on Colleen, and they're very in the favor of Josh because they were very in the circle. Should we just watch it? Let's do it. Let's do it. Ooh. Little music.
Alright, have you guys heard about Miranda Sings, aka Colleen Ballinger? This is kind of a weird topic for me because I know these people, so this is going to be a little weird.
Spill the fucking beans, Steve.
Okay, so this is one of those crazy things, right? So when you know somebody, you don't necessarily know everything about them, obviously. That's what everyone says about serial killers. And like everyone who's a neighbor, like O.J. Simpson's neighbors, like...
Who's speaking is Steve Green right now. Now, Steve Green is someone who used to be in like the friend circles of Colleen and Josh. And this podcast was posted 2 months ago.
He was the nicest fucking guy in the universe. You know what I mean?
But I mean, like, how would they know? They just probably just went like this, like 3 times, and all of a sudden they're the nicest guy in the neighborhood.
Exactly. You don't know anybody.
You don't fucking know.
So when I knew Colleen Ballinger, she was doing the Miranda Sings character, and
where did you meet her? Like
I met her in 2013, I think, or 20. I think I met her in 2011. Just in the tuber space, like everyone sees everyone at the same places and shit.
I need more context beyond just meeting her. How close did you get with them?
I was very close with her husband, and then I knew her and her husband, and we hung out a bunch. And
so outside of work, you guys hung out.
Yeah, quite a bit.
You guys been into each other's houses?
Yeah. Is she still with her husband? No.
That's part of all this too.
Oh, okay.
So we were told as well that Steve Green, who is talking, sat Josh down and said that why are these outfits so camp? Yeah. Steve Green, who's talking, sat Josh down and said, "I just want you to know that I should hate you because of what Colleen talks about you when you're not here." And Steve and Josh were really close friends. So this, again, was 2 months ago, which was, let me see, June, July. This was around the time that Swoop and Josh did the interview, but they're 2 separate entities, which means that this is someone who was also involved validating the stories that Josh said.
So you guys were friends, like beyond work.
Yeah, and I met her husband. Her husband used to work at one of the big MCNs, and he was just a normal dude. And then he became tuberfied, like with her. And then as she grew, like they both started to kind of change, and it was like very strange to.
So he was off camera working at an MCN.
Yes,
and then so he became on
camera.
Oh,
yes, and then
I actually didn't know, by the way, that Josh used to work at an MCN on YouTube, which is like the management. I didn't know that. I thought that the story was always that Josh was a YouTuber before her, so I guess that's not true. But it's interesting that Josh was like a manager and management before Colleen, like for YouTubers, for an MCN. That's like literally what that is for like YouTubers, right? That's weird.
He started changing. He's acknowledged this. He's very emotionally intelligent. He's like is aware of like what he went through.
Yeah.
But this story's kind of crazy because so right now she's being accused of grooming kids. Okay.
Whoa.
Which is a crazy accusation and allegation for me.
She was like the Mr. Rogers of like YouTube.
What was her
Girl
content?
version.
Her content was like doing a theater kid like parody, basically, named Miranda, and she's like this person who like seems like she has some kind of disability or something.
Oh my god. I love that TikTok. Someone just commented that my pronouns are USA. Oh, it got deleted. I love that TikTok. My pronouns are kiss my ass. My pronouns, TikTok is so deranged. That is what I thought as well whenever I saw this outfit. My pronouns are kiss my ass. My pronouns are Donald Trump. That TikTok is awful.
And she's talks funny, and she is very literal about things. And it was very like you can tell she's trying to do a character, right? So she's trying to like make fun of someone that she knew or a group of people that she knew and satirize like a topic.
Wait, with the lipstick?
Lipstick.
Oh,
Is that a ukulele in the back? No, it's a guitar. Sorry, I thought that was the ukulele.
It was all over the place.
All over the place.
And her hair's all crazy.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm hot, and like boys love me.
I've seen her before.
Yes.
But I think her audience
Oh, it's a guitar. Ooh, had a little bit of a jump scare there. Had a little bit of a jump scare.
was a lot of girls, right?
A lot of young girls.
A lot of 10-year-old, whatever.
And when she was coming up, she started off doing like these parody songs, but like it was purposefully bad. But then people were not quite sure if it was actually bad or not because she was playing the character a little more like it's like she turned into Pee Wee Herman later, but she was playing it a little more straight initially, and so people were genuinely confused online. Is this a real person?
Landing in the gray zone with
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
And then like later on, as it like grew, she turned it more into more of a literal character where she was like more outlandish and shit. But apparently, so as she's amassing this audience, right? And I saw this happen. Like she had like no subscribers when I met her, and she was coming up, and then she like starts exploding on the scene, and then apparently during all of this in the behind the scenes, she has a group of kids in a group called the Weenies, which is like a private chat on one of the.
That name is just forever tarnished now. Not that weenies ever comes up that much in my vocabulary, but if it ever would, it would be something that would just not sit well with me, that word anymore.
Messaging apps. And those are like a bunch of little kids, basically, like at the time, like 14, 13, 12, like all ages but not above 18.
That's what it was. It was the 4th of July. We were walking at Venice Beach and there were signs that were like weenies for sale or something like that. And it was talking about hot dogs. And I looked and I was like, me and my mom just kind of looked at each other like,
it seems. And in those chats, she's saying like inappropriate things to them, like asking them about their favorite sexual positions. Like one of the kids in there, she sent underwear to.
Like in the mail?
Yeah.
In the mail.
I hope it was new.
And when it was new, and that's the thing, when I say that, it immediately elicits a response from all of us. Very natural response. The context is a little bit different because she was like, they had just gone to like a store, bought a bunch of shit. They thought it was funny, they bought underwear, and they thought in the video, they thought it'd be funny to send this person underwear, right? And to us,
Sexy underwear?
Whatever, that's fucking weird.
Right.
Right? But yeah, sexy underwear, yeah.
Oh, it's sexy underwear?
Sexy underwear, yeah.
I think it's just funny if it was like Ninja Turtle underwear or something.
oh no, remember Colleen said, oh, it was just ugly underwear. It was ugly underwear. But in reality, it's like tongue-in-cheek lingerie.
Not bad. Wish you were around back then.
Yep.
Could have been a little angel on the shoulder. Could have helped.
Would have been great in this business.
So she also gave. So there's a kid named Adam McIntyre who's come out about this situation. He was in that Weenies group that I'm talking about, and apparently, like as she, she was with her husband, and the big thing about her and her husband was she would talk shit on her husband like constantly
To the kids?
to everybody.
Well, was that a joke or was that real?
It was real.
Oh, it was real. It was real.
Just venting about.
Venting about her husband, like being embarrassing. She's humiliated by him at all times. Like just talking the most shit I've ever heard a human being talk.
Then why is she with him?
So this is someone, by the way, that would hang around Colleen, is also saying that she would talk mad shit about Josh, who, by the way, is his best friend. Like, Josh is closer to Steve Green than what he was Colleen, yet Colleen is having no problem, like, openly talking shit. You know, even if she was going to talk shit that much, she never, like, was smart. You know what I mean? Like, I know some people that I've encountered in my life that are like, what's the word? Like, their biggest fault is that they talk shit. Like, they cannot help themselves but talk shit. And they're no longer in my life anymore. But there's a lot of people that I've met in my life that are like that, right? But the people that I've encountered in my life like that, like it's taken me a while to realize they've been talking about me like that, or realize they've been talking about other people, because they do it in a sneakier way. Colleen was just doing it to everyone. Colleen was like, I'm gonna talk shit about your friends to you when they leave. Expect that you're not going to, like, what?
Dude, it was weird. It was like one of those things where you're like kind of uncomfortably laughing and like, damn, this bitch hates this guy.
She's not fucking around. She's like really like
stand this fella.
So when you guys would hang out, would you like kind of talk shit openly? So like
she would be like passive aggressive with him, but then when he leaves the room, she's launching.
Whoa.
And by that point, because I had known him for a while, by that point it was just really weird. I was like,
because you're closer to him than her.
I was closer to him than her, and I was like, I don't want to like get in the middle of shit or whatever. Yeah. And then me and him kind of had a falling out because like he did a show. He just, I don't know, dude. He started to change it. He's acknowledged all this too. I'm not really talking shit on him per se. I just,
at the time, this is what happened.
He changed a lot. Like he got a real big head about stuff, and he would like do like he would like sing on stage and stuff like that. And I remember one time, yeah, I just was like, dude, you're just very fake now. I don't really, you know, I don't really. But I was more passive aggressive about it. I was kind of like satirizing him a lot, like on my Instagram and stuff, and like satirizing like the types of people who like Facetune their images and shit. Like he was one of the people. Many people were doing it, but he took it very personally. That
I think there is something to acknowledge that Josh did change, and you know the environment of vlogging and fame and money and stuff. He did let it get to his head, but the difference is Josh openly acknowledges that he did change and that these things became the most important things to him, and he lost friends, and I think that that's the most important thing. Like, I think you can call someone out, but I think you can also acknowledge, like, how much they've changed and grown from that. So, you know, I have absolutely no problem with someone calling Josh out with like this, especially one of his friends, because look at how much he's grown. So making this comparison almost shows even more how much he's grown.
Was doing that at all, and so we kind of had a falling out. And then we see each other like 2 years later at one of the cons, right? And then I was just like, hey, dude, like, you know, he just like sees me, I see him, we have like awkward exchange in the hallway, and then he's like, hey, dude, I'm gonna go to the bar later if you would like to talk. And I was like, yeah, dude, because I was like, we need to talk. And then we sit down, and I was like, dude, if you and me are gonna be cool, I can't just pretend like, I can't like just sit here and just not say anything. So like, yeah, your wife talks the most shit on you like of anybody I've ever heard of.
Whoa, damn.
Yeah, and
oh, he literally confronted Josh with saying, just to let you know, like, your wife talks the most amount of shit about you than anyone I've ever heard. Fucking, how is Josh even supposed to respond to that? Keep in mind, Colleen is like talking every day on her YouTube channel about how much Josh is the most incredible person ever, because again, you know, she's selling Josh Lean merch and stuff. She's such an evil person.
And by that point, I knew it was okay to say that because he was talking about how things weren't great with him and her.
Yeah.
And so I was just kind of like giving a little bit of that, like, it's okay, champ. Like, you're probably
not spread happiness.
I think it's probably a good move. Whereas if I did that years prior, it would have been awkward and probably would have like been an inappropriate move. I think
that would have made you guys not cool over that.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that anyway. But for this, because it's kind of like I had a friend who was like cheating on his wife, and like I just refused. I just like said I'm never going to talk to them again. Okay, later, because I found out he was actually doing that. So I'm not going to step in the middle and be like, he's cheating on you. Okay, see you later. You know, like why would I do that? But in this case, he was already feeling this like tug, and I was like, yeah, dude, you're right. Just so you know, you're right. Right. And then we were cool after that, and then like you know, it's kind of weird seeing like this kid Adam McIntyre talk about how, you know, he used to work for Colleen and like she would message him all the time and she would talk shit all over Josh.
This boy was like 14 at the time?
He was like 14 years old.
Wow.
And she's talking shit about him in the Weenies group, which just makes so much sense because like I would, like every time all of my tuber friends.
Again, it's like, I hate to toot my own horn a little bit here, but here's another person who was friends with Colleen and Josh that's validating my story that I told back in 2020 being the truth. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but fucking everyone else is allowed to lie on this story. I'm looking at two people individually. As the years go on, there are more and more people that are coming forward that are involved in it, being like, yeah, what Adam said makes sense. From like 2020.
Were around her and he left the room. She's like fucking clowning on this guy. It was like wild. It was like so mean too. It was like, man, you really just hate this. This is your husband. You fucking hate this guy. So then this guy Adam McIntyre came out. I think he's a very well-spoken young man. And he came out a couple of...
Oh. Keep in mind, this is my first time watching this.
Years ago, because Colleen ended up tweeting something from the Miranda Sings account that was about like LGBT like coming out, and she was like, "Hey, I'm coming out." LGBT like,
LG like LGB chat GBT, yeah.
like coming out, and she was like, "Hey, I'm coming out," and then it was a joke at the end. It wasn't like anything
She
serious.
was joking about coming out?
She was joking about coming out, but it was like I'm coming out, like that I like to eat donuts or whatever it was. I think it was a fart joke.
I'm coming out as a Meghan Trainor fan. The most historical, hilarious tweet that has ever been posted on Twitter.
I think it was a fart joke or something like that. It was
Fart joke! Fart joke! Not another fart joke! Fart joke. It wasn't a fart joke, it was a Meghan Trainor joke. And it was legendary. Legendary.
And then she was accused of gay baiting at the time or whatever. And I'm not writing that off. I'm just saying like this is just to get through this story, right?
So what? She got criticism for gay baiting for a fart joke? Steve Green. Wrong timeline.
And then,
He's doing his best.
So then she comes out and says, "Hey, I apologize and this sucks." And then she blamed this kid Adam because he wrote the tweet, and he's a gay kid himself.
How do you know that? That's an insane amount of guessing, Steve.
He wrote the tweet.
What do you mean, Steve? Like limp wrist.
Because she was having kids, and she chucked him under the fucking bus. And then like he felt alienated. He had no power. He had no
Even
leadership.
though she had approved that tweet.
She had approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had approved the tweet multiple times, like 4 times, I think.
Yup. Yup.
You should watch this video, really, if you want to get caught up on this. I'm doing a truncation of the whole thing. He really goes through the details of like screenshots and all this stuff.
The laundry list.
As far as like the grooming accusation, he's basically saying like anytime that Colleen wanted to talk to me, it was to get something out of me and to use me for something. So he feels like she groomed him because she would like manipulate him, like love bomb him with compliments and praise.
Wow, shit, he has the entire timeline down.
To get something out of him, and then she would ignore it. And like she would have him like drive, because she would do these tours, and she would have him like drive. He's like living in Ireland, so he's driving like for hours with his parents.
Oh my god.
And then she would say like, "Let's meet up for."
Do they think that I'm driving from Ireland to America to go to her shows? No, I mean, it was still like 4 or 5 hours to go to Dublin, from Derry to Dublin.
We'll have like a day.
But he knows that he's watched the videos. Shout out Steve Green. Love you for that.
Hang out. And then like as he's driving for hours with his parents, she's like, "Hey, like, why aren't you here yet? I gotta go. Like, I ordered you food. Like, it's gonna wait here or whatever." And basically,
Holy shit, he knows the burger story too.
he's saying like, I was always like, it always seems like I was her friend, and then when it was time for us to actually do friend things, she would bail on me. So she used me, groomed me, got me to get information for her, got me to attack her ex-husband because they ended up getting a divorce because Josh was already feeling that way, and then Josh starts to hear that everyone confirming that she was talking all kinds of shit on him, right? And that all coalesced, and they were already having problems, and it was over, right? So then, and Josh is a very good dude, by the way. I think he made some mistakes with being in those chats. Just that he's copped all this stuff. He's like, he feels bad that he was in a dark place and he was like opening up about private things to like a bunch of strangers, but he felt like a weird kinship with people. I don't know. Those are his words. And then, I mean, not exactly his words, just trying to sum it all up. But yeah, I think, if anybody in this, like I really don't have malice for anybody here. I just think that, if you're going to do what she did for a long time, which is just like talk all kinds of mad shit about like a lot of different things. Apparently she was talking shit on fans too.
Yep.
Like, eventually it will, people will talk to each other and go like, "Yeah, she did that. Yeah, I was there. Yeah." I was there.
Because even before all of this, like...
And I think that that's like something that... I think this is why this is probably one of the longest things that we've seen go on. In terms of on YouTube, right? I mean, with like the Shane Dawson thing, it was like really, really, really intense over summer. And then the conclusion was Shane made that video where he's like taking himself away from social media, right? And then he stays for a year off and then comes back and people watch. And there were so many topics about Shane that came out all at once, right? They came out all at once. Because things for years bottled up and then on like 1 week, everything dropped. Where screenshots, everything, right? And with Colleen, I think the reason that this has been so fucking prolonged is because in 2020, I came out. In June of 2023, Cody came out. In June 2023, Johnny came out. Becky came out. Oliver came out. Soph came out. Like, and then it was Steve Green's coming out. Swip's coming out. Josh is coming out. Like, the Haters Back Off PA, who worked at Netflix, came out. Her sponsors came out. Like, this has been, she did so many awful things to so many people that people just come out at their own time. But because she's done so many things, who's to say we don't know how many others there are? And she's fucked over so many people that there's still a long list still yet to speak about her. So when you've done that to so many people, you have to be prepared for the fact that one by one, they're all going to start fucking coming out. And if they start coming out one after each other, prepare to be fucking silenced for a while, or at least come forward and explain why you did those things.
Just from mutuals and just from, I mean, tubers all talk, right? I already had in my mind that she was a sociopath.
Really?
Yeah, like from, I forgot, like just, it was at,
Not the Shane Dawson sociopath.
Over the YouTube space. Some people were talking about it. Some other, man, it was just bits and pieces throughout time. And I'm all like, you know,
Jesus, everyone in the YouTube space doesn't trust her.
Wholesome, like, they have a kid audience, or like something is like, you would never fucking expect them to being like absolute sociopaths, and like, people expect us to be these drug addict fucking wild cowboy ass rock stars. And in real life, we're like the complete opposites. So I'm like, to me, I'm like, dude, ever since I got into that space, like YouTube and just knowing these folks, I was just like, fuck, dude, like, it's crazy. And then I don't have any way to confirm it, but now everything's coming out, and it's like, karma's a bitch. Let's go.
What do you think of her apology video?
Oh my god, what a fucking nightmare. Well, first of all, so her apology video, she gets
Daz, chill it, please.
She sings the apology.
and deflects, doesn't address anything. She just says it's all lies, and like
If they're talking about something on screen, it's to be expected. People are going to talk about it.
wiggles her way around it.
10 minutes long.
That guy, Adam McIntyre, is he the only one that got groomed, or he's just one of the many?
One of many kids are coming out now saying the same shit. Many now adults are coming out saying the same.
By the way, can I say something? Soph DM'd me on Twitter today and let me know that people have been saying that apparently I have been saying that I don't care about Soph or something like that. Like, apparently I've been saying online that I look at Soph how I look at Johnny or something, and I just thought it was like, what? I literally responded to Soph and I was like, what do you mean? I was like, that's such a bizarre thing to say. So just to clarify to everyone, I've never said ever anything about Soph being like Johnny, nor have they have ever came into the same, like, I've never said that. I think Soph is great. Soph is getting such an overwhelming amount of hate on social media, and I think people are trying their best to overload Soph with information, and a lot of that isn't true. And apparently that's in the form of people being like, Adam is saying that he hates you on his Twitch streams. I've never said that, I'm going to be honest.
Same shit.
But does she have an audience still? Because I remember back,
She's on tour right now, I think.
oh,
Through and is like mainstream, right?
Yeah.
really?
She was in
Yeah.
a Pixar movie
No,
for a sec.
Netflix thing too.
She had a Netflix show.
She was in a Pixar movie?
She was like for a minute, I think, in Wreck-It Ralph 2, I think.
Really?
She's in it for a sec, but yeah.
Not Wreck-It Ralph 2, where they break the computer.
For sure.
And then yeah, she's done very well for herself. Like I was at her house when she was with her husband, and they had a fucking killer house. Pretty sure she still lives there. Like it was nice.
Not just a loser.
So she's saying an apology?
She's saying an apology with a uke, and then
That's so,
And the accusations-
that's so early YouTube.
but it wasn't an apology. It was like a defense thing.
And the accusations are her being
Using
very
kids.
sexual with kids.
Being sexual kids,
Just
using
inappropriate,
kids to
dick.
attack her ex-husband. So like she sent like little brigades to like flood his Twitter account, make him feel real bad about himself. I saw a lot.
I think we need to keep reiterating that this is one of Josh's friends. Like, this is one of Joshua David Evans' friends speaking up right now.
How often, I mean, how recent is this that it went down?
Which part?
Like, her fucking...
Her going down is like right now.
Okay, but what about her,
That was 5 years ago, I think.
the divorce?
Divorce was 5 years ago, yeah. And then
And the grooming of the kids has been going on since...
apparently throughout the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
We're,
And how is she groomed? Did she have, like... is there accusations of her having relationships with these kids? And like,
No.
it's very not that. It's more manipulative. It's not like sexual grooming.
Psyop.
Not sexual grooming.
You do all these things for me, I'm not your friend anymore.
And not just that,
Yeah,
but she'll tell him like she told Adam McIntyre, she's like, hey, like I'm thinking about turning you into my social media manager. Why don't you keep working for me for free? Which apparently he'd already been doing that, sending her ideas and all kinds of stuff. He's just
How does he know the entire topic?
and stuff like that. And then
He's up to date.
She would she's like, I'm considering you right now for my social media intern.
Oh my god, he has the screenshot loaded up!
So I want you to take over my Twitter account. So that's when he posted that thing, and then she fucking blames him. Also, she has this friend who I think I can speak for quite a few tubers that I know. He's one of the meanest people I've ever met. His name's Corey.
Woo! Oh, I love a Corey lashing. Okay, so Steve Green just said, I can speak for a lot of people that Corey is one of the meanest people I've ever met. Remember I told you that Corey is hated and that he's specifically hated within the West Hollywood scene of the gays? They hate Corey so much. Yeah, the toilet cleaner Corey, as Swip said. Who is going to clean your toilet, Donald Trump? In the sense that, anyone know that video? Who is going to clean your toilet, Colleen Ballinger? In the sense that, anyone know that fucking video? Who was that? In the sense that, really bad video. Kelly Osbourne, yeah.
And
Oh, that's the other dude.
that's
in
the
this
other
whole
dude
shit,
in this
right?
thing.
Oh.
Yeah. One of the meanest motherfuckers I've ever met.
Really?
And that's why they're such good like friends. I think like they just have that same love language of like let's just talk shit on everything.
Like theater bitch.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
Yep.
So, I don't think I'm speaking out of school there. I don't think that people are like, what a nice guy. I think it's pretty known.
See, it's a pretty known thing. Corey is the worst.
Space.
Because apparently they would, if a kid was out of line and disagreeing with their shit, they would use other kids to bully that kid. So it didn't look like they were doing.
Wow, they're really educated on this.
Are they our age? They're like in their 40s and shit?
They're like, she's like our age.
30s?
Yeah, 38.
Late 30s? Yeah.
Definitely too old to be playing with these kids like that.
Yeah, and sending them underwear is weird, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I get like the people are like, she took pictures with kids where they're all holding up tampons. I'm like, that, I don't know, dude. Like, sometimes in the search to hunt someone down, you just take everything and go, that's evidence too. And it's like, that's not really your point, is it? Is that really your point?
Yeah.
Like, you already made really good points. You don't have to like fire off every single piece of salvo that you have.
Right. That's the hard part about listening to this coverage is people list a million things because they're trying to like surround you with like anywhere you look, it's bad.
The preponderance
But
of
it's like,
evidence.
so like one of these is bad.
Yeah, exactly.
People who actually did research love to see it, yeah.
And it's fine. But
I'm gonna be honest as well. Yeah, the tampon thing was weird because she asked us to go to the meet and greet with the tampons as well. Well, I wasn't at the meet and greet, obviously. And she was the one who was giving advice on how to use it and sent that video to the girls in the group chat and then was asking them to reciprocate it back. It was weird, let's be honest.
you don't have to do all that shit.
Right.
You don't have
It's
to-
almost distracting from
Minute
how
I
bad
lose.
it is. Yeah.
And I honestly think too, and no insult to Adam at all. I really do think that this thing was kind of dying down actually. Like as far as like the amount of people who were talking about it, it was kind of on its way of like you ever just milk a story so fucking hard that there's no other angles left to cover and it's over.
Yeah.
Like the fucking Titanic submarine.
Not the Titanic.
Like with this story, it was over, and then she did this ukulele video, and now it went viral, but beyond anything I've ever seen.
Wow, but she could have just ended it.
I honestly think it was like on death's door, and I don't know that.
But here's the reason that the story didn't end, because Colleen would have to acknowledge that she did the things, so it was going to be prolonged one way or another. So,
Like I think a month from then, like nobody can really keep.
and yeah, that's also important to note. Cody was the one that started this all again, and after my story, I don't really want to be. Excuse me. I posted my own videos. There was one person who was going on a podcast tour. There was one person who was coming up with a new story every day. That was not me. You can blame Johnny for that. That was not me. I stuck to my own YouTube channel, my own shit.
in that fucking titty, right? So I think it was pretty much on the way out.
And then when she makes an apology like that, it makes her show like it shows that she's really out of touch.
And it becomes like not just any apology. It's like the most parodied apology video I've ever seen. Now everyone's out there.
Probably the
doing
worst
bits.
example of a response, not
Yeah.
even an apology.
And then is that when the
And she says it's all lies, basically.
and then is that when the kid came out and made a video detailing with receipts after the
Yeah.
apology?
No, before. Before she did the ukulele video, he has been turning up the heat because somebody else kind of brought all this back up to the surface, and then he gave really important context clues about what the fuck was going on the whole time from years ago, where he basically got run off the internet by a bunch of the Weenies and Colleen fans because they basically said he is now an enemy of the
He
state.
knows his shit.
Every time he says her name, I'm like,
I'm sorry.
how do you
It's
spell-
Colleen,
wait,
though.
It's Colleen, right?
That was one
Yeah,
of the
She
first.
spells it like
God,
Colleen. Yeah.
C-O-L-L-E-E-N? Okay, not even close to me.
K-A-L-Y-N-E.
Yeah.
So when you heard about all this, none of it sounds surprising to you.
I didn't
at all.
even blink. Oh, the only thing I blinked about was the kid stuff because I had no idea about the chat stuff. I knew that she had a fan base that was really what do you call it? Like they loved to, any rumor they could find of anything. They
Oh,
loved
okay,
to-
yeah.
Like attention-y.
And who doesn't
Attention
love drama,
seeking.
right? But they were like
Drama hungry.
blow it up into a big thing, and then like the truth is all the way over here. So like, because I was inside of a lot of that stuff, like as far as like just knowing basic shit about what was going on with them, and like they would be
Not Gone Silvestri.
here like with wild shit that doesn't make any sense, but then they almost have like pieces of the truth,
Yeah.
and they're like running with it in
But it's
weird
just too
directions.
fun over there.
Yeah, it's really fun.
But who's the one that's starting all that? Cauldron Ballinger is the one that's starting all of it.
Truth was way more fucked up though.
If I was a kid, I'd done the same shit because it's fun to like run with it. But
Right, but they were like saying stuff like Colleen loves Josh more than anything in the world. Like I don't know why. Like they
Oh,
even
like
get into it,
that.
like, stuff like that. And you're like,
right,
brother.
and you're over here like
I'm like, no,
fucking
bitch.
kidding.
I'm like the fucking lady at the casino with a cigarette. I'm like, oh, honey, I'm just fucking here till I die. Like the world is bleak and dark. You have no idea.
So you've never known her as anything other than like she's just a general asshole.
No. So when I first met her, she was just normal. The fame totally changed her, dude. Like she was normal and nice and like probably like I really do believe. I think you believe this too, where you're probably the same person and then you get power and then you show us who you really are.
Yep.
But she was very cool and I thought she was funny and like, yeah, I don't know. It's really tough when you're looking at something like this and people are just like everyone firing every arrow they have at her. Like,
Yeah.
it gets tough because I know more of the full person. Can't say I've known her for years now, but the person that I knew in the beginning, I really did like her. Like I didn't just hang out with her because it was fun.
Yeah.
Like it didn't do anything for my YouTube career to hang out with her. We were just hanging out with each other. Like she was just a really cool person, and most importantly, my buddy Josh was really cool. Like a super good dude, honest with you. He has like a southern thing because he's from the South and shit. And my mom's from the South, so me and him got on pretty quick. And he's just a real guy. And then I was really disappointed to see like how the fame changes people. It's happened a couple times. I've been in the tube space for a while. I've seen it happen quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it was the way that they changed and became like better than in that negative space, right? Where it's like, you know, like a fan comes up and they're like nervous or something, and then the fan leaves and they're like, and she's like doing a bit about it or whatever. Like stuff like that is like, you know, where it's like, I guess, you know, maybe she's just relieving on her.
So just like talking shit about the fans to her friends too. That what didn't she talk shit about?
And just like trying to be like, see, I don't think I'm that cool or whatever, but it was just weird, right? You're just like, this is weird. And I can't say that she shit on every fan she saw, and like that's kind of what's happening right now, unfortunately, in this particular story. But like she hated all of her fans. The truth is like this, and it's like, nah, sometimes like
Well, she hated enough of them, and is that not enough? We have her on record talking shit about enough of them. Is that not enough?
you meet an awkward fan and then afterward you have to joke about it to release the tension.
Oh yeah.
And don't you think like most people always pin extremes?
Yeah.
Like it's just like that's what you're gonna run with regardless.
Exactly.
When you're trying to like paint a narrative, it's like it's got to be the extremes.
Also, in situations like this, everyone likes to round up to the extreme.
Of course.
Like this one's pure
absolutely,
evil.
But I think the reason that this one is so shocking to people is because no one has to round this up to sound shocking. You know what I mean? If that was the case, the shock value would have worn off by now. We're now 4 months into this, or fucking for me 3 years. The shock value would have worn off. But the reason that it's continued for so long is because it's not based on shock value. Believe it or not.
To do this, you could certainly do this.
Right. But what do you think, like, so with this out, and with people finally, like, kind of believing it, what gets taken away from it at all, like, at this point?
Honestly, so I guess a bunch of, one
Sponsors?
of the sponsors have left and stuff like that, and that's always, like, a weird thing anyways, because, yeah, we all know that they're just there to sell
Canceling
products
just
anyway.
doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. So what really happens is I think she, is going to have that pit in her stomach for a couple months, and then, eventually she'll just keep on doing stuff.
Because she didn't actually break the law in any way, huh?
I mean, if her followers keep following, like, what's the real difference? It's just people outside coming in talking shit.
But people are doing this thing too where I just think that this story has gone on long enough where people are really doing that thing of like...
Isn't it ironic that 2 months after this, his best friend Josh ended up speaking out? I wonder if he says that it's dragging on now. 2 months later, his best friend exposes her, Josh. So, if a story is shocking enough and the person at hand is bad enough, it will go on for a very long time.
Law enforcement do something, YouTube do something, and it's like that's not what this actually is. This is totally
Right.
This is totally in the more in the realm of like the public space and like
Her fans.
her fans. Yeah. Because like what is illegal about what she did per se? I also
I mean,
think that.
the Trisha Paytas nudes thing, but
And I don't really.
Him, I don't know.
I don't know. That this kid Adam McIntyre's parents are going to see this, but like your parents.
oh my god, he just said Adam McIntyre's parents are going to see this. Mom, this will probably upset you.
Are really to blame a lot
That's
for.
Ooh, he's dragging.
For as long as you did.
Like talking to a fucking adult at that age.
But I think one thing to notice about that as well is I feel that anyone really who has ever brought up that argument kind of immediately gets shut down because Colleen went on record saying, "Are your parents coming? Don't tell your parents this. Don't tell your parents that." So how are the parents to blame if the other adult is literally saying, you can tell them this, but don't tell them that. Or, oh, are they going to be coming to the lunch? Or, okay, if I tell you this about Josh abusing me, like, you can tell your parents that, like, the relationship's going okay. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm going to be honest, you can't really blame anyone's parents if the person at hand is literally telling you to cherry pick what you should tell your parents. But I guess I've posted a lot of videos on this, and there's been things here and there, so obviously.
Yeah. And one of his things is he wants an apology from Colleen, and he wants an apology from Colleen to his parents. But it's like, dude, your parents...
It's the other way around.
Your parents are... Well, she shouldn't... her parents shouldn't apologize to Colleen, but her parents should be apologizing.
Her?
Yeah, I 100%
his parents,
believe that.
His parents should be apologizing to Adam, because you're a young...
But the thing is that they're saying is, why is the level of responsibility being taken off of Colleen here? You know what I mean? I don't understand why the level of responsibility. Because if someone who's an adult has done the things to the child, then that person has to, you know, no shade, but why did your parents never go through your phone? Because I had a school iPad, so everything happened whenever I was at school mostly. So do you want to blame the school, or do you want to blame the adult responsible for it? Because we can play the game all day of who's responsible, but I don't know, like, nothing takes away from the adult who did it, so.
Young kid, everything that he's saying, I was 14. Yeah, dude, where are your parents? Why aren't they trying to get you off of this?
But my parents were on my social media. Colleen Ballinger had secret accounts that she would talk, like, and we used to have these secret Twitters. All of the Weenies members had secret Twitters because Colleen wouldn't like when we publicly tweeted her. So my parents were on my social medias. They were following me on Twitter. They were following this. So, but all of the members of Weenies, to hide it from our parents, had rant Twitters, like Little Fince does. And they were the ones that Colleen tweeted. They were the ones that Colleen DM'd, because Colleen didn't want the parents to be involved in it. So whenever we would meet up at the meet and greets, our parents would know about our usernames in the fandom, but they wouldn't know about the secret accounts that Colleen messages us on. So who's to blame there? The adult who's messaging them on these secret accounts and creating that environment, or the parents who are checking the social medias? Because all the other members of the Weenies, their parents followed, like, their Instagrams. Oh my god, more so. They would go to, like, the meet and greets and stuff. They knew their child's Instagram or Twitter usernames and stuff, but none of them knew about the rant Twitters, which is what we talked to her on. And I mean, some of the members of Weenies still have their rant Twitters now that they use, you know, as an adult, and they have completely different followers and stuff on it, but it's important to note that as well.
Monitoring how you communicate.
I mean, that's wild to me.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And I think that that's gone missing in a lot of this, too. Not to beat up on this kid. He's a really well-spoken kid.
But if he's saying this argument of, I feel like that's being overlooked, like people aren't blaming the parents, but that was all that was happening for 3 years, though. The responsibility for the last 3 years on this has been on my parents, because that's what Colleen did. You know, Colleen turned it around. So the responsibility for 3 years has been on my parents. So, I mean, what? Are we going to go around Becky, Oliver, even including Johnny, Cody, Soph? I could list off 24 members of the Weenies right now who are all children, some of them being 12 years old. All the members of Corey's Clit group chat that are children. The other group chats Colleen was in that were children. Are we going to go around and blame every single person's parent or guardian? Or are we going to blame the adult that was secretly creating an environment to talk to children in? Because this wasn't me or someone else. We're talking about hundreds of children that Colleen Ballinger did this to. So, by that logic, you would have to go around and blame probably 200, 300 people, you know, parents or guardians, instead of, oh my god, a 30-something-year-old woman was creating an environment in which she was secretly talking to children. Okay?
But
I'll finish it.
How old is he now?
He's 20, early 20s.
He is really well spoken. But
Really
also,
well-spoken.
But also with that approach, that, like, and how enamored he was with her, he's pretty lucky that it wasn't a more predatory person.
Yeah.
Because, like, we learned in the 90s because of Michael Jackson, honestly. Our parents were like, you see what happens, you get too close.
They're losing me.
Like, this could happen.
They're losing me, I'm going to be honest.
So, like, we grew up knowing.
They had 24 minutes of amazing takes just to lose it in the last 30 seconds.
My parents were like, that's your mentor? Do whatever the fuck he says.
Well, an interesting ending to a very good podcast. a very, very, very interesting ending to what was a very good podcast. For the most part, that was really good. I think it's really interesting hearing from Josh's friends as well. So shout out to them. Shout out to them.